does Colette decide to die? Colette is an overworked apothecary who, after coming back from a house call, remembers this legend about a well taking her to another world. Lacking of sleep, mind decides it's a great idea to go jump into the said well in front of her, and ends up in the underworld, where she ends up gaining a new patient, Hades, Lord of the Underworld. This is a Volume 1 First Impressions review. It is published by Viz Media under their Shoujo Beat line. It's by Alto Yukimura. And oh my gosh, it was so good. This was exactly what I wanted out of it. Oh my god. Even before I read it, like, I looked at this cover and I could feel my middle school self being like, I love this. I love this so much. And like, I love the artwork on the front cover, and like, this is gonna be a bit weird, but like, I actually want to hug both of them individually. They just seem like they would be so nice to hug and to hold. But oh my gosh, this was so great. This is rated T for teen. This is an omnibus release. There is only an omnibus release, so it contains the first 2 books that were released in Japan. There is, in the book 1/2, an unrelated short story that was also very good. It was like this very typical airy, like, shoujo for that bonus story. It was overall really good reading, very cute. But the rest of the volume is literally the main storyline of why Colette decides to die. I actually have picked up the 2nd and 3rd volume because I cannot wait to read more of this. I love this so much. For a manga with the title like Colette Decides to Die, this is a surprisingly lighthearted slice of life shoujo manga. There's a fantastical element to it. After all, she ended up jumping down a well and ended up in the underworld, and Hades is now her patient. But it just feels like life. I guess it's kind of ironic considering that it's dealing with the underworld with the dead. But a lot of it feels light. Death is a theme in here, but it is not graphic. It's not heavy. It really is just Hades' day-to-day job to judge souls and decide where they're going to go. So there can be a little bit of frightening imagery, but it's not so much anything related to death, but rather Hades' job. I absolutely adore the characters' personalities and their interactions. It's honestly enough to keep the story going. It just makes me want to read more. I want to see what they're doing and where they're going and what kind of like little adventure they're about to have. The first book in here definitely is establishing the main story and kind of starting to hint at the romance between Colette and Hades, while the 2nd volume definitely has more of a multi-chapter unfolding storyline that's very, very good. It is not super romantic, at least not right now. It's actually pretty light, and it's super cute, like super cute. And I love watching as like kind of stuff unfolds, and it just makes me go, ah. The art in here is exactly what I want from a shoujo manga. Like, when I go and look at this, I'm like, shoujo. It just reminds me of the shoujo that I used to like grow up on and love to read, and this is exactly what it is. You know, you got the big eyes, it's got thin lines, it feels very super like feminine and light, and it's pretty, and it's so nice to look at and so nice to read. It's beautiful. The screen tone, there's like lots of different textures used. It's great. I don't think it's like a masterpiece. Like, there's some manga that are so freaking gorgeous, they're a masterpiece. I don't think that's what this is, but this is like, when I think shoujo and like what I'm looking for out of a shoujo manga, this has exactly what I want. This is exactly what I want. I think that if you have not read a shoujo manga before, I think that there's a good chance that this is a great shoujo manga to start with. That being said, I need to make some recommendations because this might not be the right manga for everyone. If you are someone who loves shoujo manga in general, if you're someone who loves shoujo stories that make you feel warm and fuzzy, but also that can make you feel like crying, laughing, or even a little bit frightened. If you enjoy shoujo manga with a touch of the fantastical. And if you are someone who doesn't need the two main characters to fall in love immediately, then this is probably a phenomenal shoujo manga for you to pick up. Now, who do I not recommend this to? People who are looking for a Greek mythology accurate Hades and other Greek gods. This is not the series for you. Honestly, the gods in here are more characters who are named after the Greek gods who also happen to be gods themselves. If you really want the accuracy, this is not it. This is not it at all. If you're someone who wants more immediate romance, this is also not the manga for you. They're definitely falling in love, but it's a lot more subtle and slower and very light. This is not for you. If you want more drama, definitely not you. This is more lighthearted. There are more like heavier emotional moments, but like it's overall very like it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good for the most part. So this is not for you. And if you don't like lighthearted shoujo, just don't read this. Probably don't read it. I mean, you might be able to find an exception to this, but I just don't think this would be the right one for you. Now, if you are the ones who I thought this was the right one for you and this non-spoiler section has piqued your interest and you're not going to go out to a physical bookstore to go buy it, I have links down in the description so that you can go to your favorite bookstore if it's listed and go buy it without having to navigate to the URL. Amazon and bookshop.org are both affiliate links, so I get a small commission when you purchase from them. It does not, I repeat, it does not cost you anything extra. It is literally just something that I get from when you submit an order, and I really appreciate it because every time you buy something from that link, what will happen is I get a commission, and then I can take that money and put it towards more manga, which then means I can review more stuff for you at a faster rate, which to me I really want to be doing, and I'm so excited about that. So check out those links and buy yourself a copy. Right now we're on to the spoiler section, so it would be best for you to click off this video, maybe perhaps go purchase yourself a copy and then come back later to hear my other thoughts. That sounds pretty good to me. That sounds good to me. So yeah, let's talk a bit more about Colette decides to die. So why does she decide to die? The answer is she doesn't. I think that there's a side panel somewhere in here. I just don't remember where it is, and I'm not about to go look for it. The manga mentions that there had been a one-shot of this that she had written, and the title made sense then. And then, much to her surprise, this actually got picked up for serialization, and the title no longer made sense, but she didn't actually know what to call it until chapter 7. And then by that it was just too late. So it's Colette decides to die. Now, I will say in the beginning when Colette goes down the well and ends up in the underworld, she literally does not want to leave. She doesn't want to leave. She realizes like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. This is like my own room and I got no one to bother me. She's like, leave me down here. Leave me down here. Like, here, let me pull that up. Because she's an overworked apothecary. Right? Yeah, like, literally this, like, panel, like, right down here. Do you see how excited she is? She's like, hooray, this is just what I wanted. A dungeon soul is basically my own place. Death isn't so bad after all. Girl, I'm sorry to tell you this, you ain't dead. Like, oh, so funny. And then, like, just then she's down there. Right, she's down here, she's all celebrating because she finally doesn't have to work anymore. And then the skeleton servants come over and they're like, so we heard you're an apothecary. Can you come over here and heal our Lord Hades? And she's like, do I have to? I want to go back into the cell. Don't do this to me. Then she meets Hades and she's like, yeah, there's something wrong with you. It looks like an allergy. What was the allergy? She doesn't learn until later, though, that the allergy was caused by him going into the sun when he was getting one of the condemned shadow people. They had escaped, and he was like, no, you're gonna cause calamity. And when he went out, he got a whole bunch of rashes. And that's when he realized he had been underground for way too long and developed an allergy to the sun. How does a god get an allergy? I have literally no clue, but for the sake of the story, I'm just gonna ignore that part. I love Hades too, when Colette, like, Hades, like, originally didn't want to even, like, come out. He just, like, sticks his hand, like, through the car. And Colette's like, no, I need to see you. And, like, Colette, this entire time, she's so, like, insistent. She's like, no, I'm taking care of you. So she seems pretty stubborn. And, like, the servants don't like her. Like, a lot of the servants don't like her. And Hades sometimes seems to get a little bit annoyed at her. But she helps. He heals. And there's a point when Hades, like, sends her back, and it just sounds like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not gonna, I'm not gonna see you again till you die. And Colette comes back, and she's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that, cause you're still my patient, you're not healed yet. And so she keeps coming back, and so she goes back and forth between both the worlds, and I love it. It's a bit hard to, like, describe this manga as well. I feel like if you know the way that, like, a lot of shoujo is written, like, you probably understand what I mean. But, like, so the title sounds like it could potentially be a lot darker, though I feel like if you saw the cover, you'd be like, this cover and that title doesn't really seem to go together. But no, there's a lightness to it, but it's also emotional. There's parts that are emotional. There's a part in book 2 with I'm gonna cry, think about it again. This is not the first, this is like the 4th or 5th time I cried starting to think about it. Colette's apothecary mentor passed away and ended up in the underworld, condemning himself for not saving his wife like 30 years prior. And Hades had determined that he was virtuous and was supposed to go to heaven. And the guy was like, I shouldn't be, I'm a horrible person because I killed my wife. Except he didn't kill his wife. His wife got sick, and he unfortunately was not able to heal her in time. And Colette helps, and this was like most of the story in book 2. Colette helps to like get her mentor to agree to go to heaven, and one of the ways to do that was actually to find the wife. Now the thing is, when in this manga series, in the world that they live in, the dead become faceless. They're just shadow people, and over time they actually forget who they had been. So they're in the heaven area, which I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. It starts with an A. It's like astrophysical or something like that. Either way, they're in this heaven area, and they're trying to find the wife, but it's been 30 years. You know, who she was probably gone, right? They couldn't find her, calling out her name. But I think it was Colette who goes, sing the song that you wrote for her. And he starts singing, and sure enough, one of the shadow people started singing and was like, oh, I remember that song. I don't remember anything else from when I was alive, but I always remember that song. And so they found each other. That was very much pulling out my heartstrings. Like, the fact that she couldn't remember anything else, but they were still able to find each other. Very see that, like, this this is not the first time. Over on my Patreon, I'm gonna have I have a full read through, as I'm sitting down reading it, so you can see my reactions. There's a lot of quiet parts, so I recommend actually maybe reading along with me, even though I might not be on the same page as you, but oh my gosh. But that's just some of the stuff with this. Kind of moving on to the characters. I love everyone so far in terms of the two main characters, Colette and Hades. Colette is the type of young woman who is very dedicated to her work. She's strict when she needs to be, and she's got a bit of a mischievous side. There's quite a couple of instances where she makes an evil face. It's so funny and so satisfying. I really love Colette. She's a fantastic protagonist. She is she's feminine too. She's feminine. She's skilled. She's feminine, she's skilled at what she does. I love too that she knows how to be strict when it counts, and the thing that ended up helping Hades heal. Hades follows that trope of being serious and almost never smiling, and so when he does smile, it's extremely charming. Most of the time when he smiles, it's also around Colette, which is kind of one of the things where you could tell that he has a fondness for her, and I don't blame him. I will say too, I love both of their character designs. As I said, Colette is definitely very feminine, and I love her look, and Hades' look is also I really like him as attractive 2D man. I was like, this design goes on my list of attractive 2D men. Hands down. I'm a little bit curious, or I am a little bit curious where Hades' clothing style comes from. I'm not super versed in clothing from around the world, because when I look at a lot of his stuff, it was it kind of almost looks like it's to me it's kind of invoking what I might see in Arabian Nights for some reason. I was maybe this might be inspired by traditional Greek dress, but I don't know what that looks like. And I did search up a little bit, and I was maybe a combination of influences. But if anyone actually knows what the designs for his clothing is supposed to be inspired by, please let me know, because I'm really curious. Because I couldn't pinpoint it, but I was this does not look Greek to me. But I'm used to the Greek gods usually being in togas. Granted, as I said during the non-spoiler part, honestly, the Greek gods in here are not the Greek gods. They're characters named after the Greek gods who also happen to be gods and occupy similar roles, but they have literally no resemblance to them other than that. It's very vague inspiration, and the mangaka even states that it's vaguely inspired, but the well portion was actually inspired by Lord Enma of Japan. We do get to see a couple different sides of Hades. We get to see him, his more serious, more formal, commanding, kind of go away, you insolent fool kind of way. But we also see him too when he smiles. We see him when he's frightening. There's a few demonstrations of his power, especially in the first book. There's a lot. And if you're I'm confused, are you talking about volume 2? No. If you don't remember, this contains 2 books because it's an omnibus. So I'm talking about the first book in here in this omnibus, volume 1. The volume 1. Not volume 1 of the omnibus, volume 1 inside of here. Anyway, Hades actually punishes the like condemned souls. And like that display of power is frightening. And there's a point when Colette gets kidnapped by Hercules, and when Hades comes up, it's kind of a frightening entrance because the ground splits open. But those kind of frightening instances are far and few between, and they mostly serve, I think, to really establish what Hades is capable of. And to me, it just also looks like he's just doing his job. A couple of the other gods do make an appearance, notably Demeter, who is there for a festival, and Zeus. Demeter and Zeus both appear to think that Colette is Hades' lover, which is currently not the case. Demeter does mention that there's a lot of goddesses who want to be with Hades, but they're scared of his dominion. Colette, though, comes to mind because this girl ain't scared at all. She's literally somewhere in the manga. She just goes, she's like, I'm an apothecary. I can handle some skeletons. Like, it's just like, I'm like, I love you, Colette. And Hades, clearly, like that too. Yeah. I love these two. Cannot wait to read the next volume. Oh my god. I actually had a hard time guessing that Zeus was Zeus. For some reason, my brain immediately went to Apollo, and I was like, no, wait, that doesn't seem right. I was like, Dionysus? I'm not pronouncing his name correct. I mean, they're both sons of Zeus, but I was like, Dionysus, the god of wine. I was like, is that who that is? Because there's just like some of the traits was like, who is this, and then it revealed that the character who was called himself Tama was Zeus. I was like, oh, it was Zeus. He felt very, this portrayal of Zeus, the character named after Zeus, who also happens to be a god, feels very little brother. Like, I was just like, he seems like a little brother who is just causing trouble, which is, I mean, in terms of the manga, it was actually true. He's causing some trouble, and he was flirting with Colette, and Hades eventually came up and was like, leave her alone. Something that I was really curious about when I had read the back of this, and I was like, it involves Hades. I was like, where's Persephone? Persephone, as far as I know, is not in here. There's no goddess in here, at least of the first 2 volumes, named Persephone. I kind of wonder if there might be, considering both Demeter and Zeus are there, and Demeter had mentioned that there's other goddesses who are interested in Hades. So I kind of wonder if the mangaka, Alto Yukimura, might end up having Persephone show up. I'm not sure how close she's gonna be to the Greek myth. I mean, they're already not all that close. They're vaguely inspired. But I'm like, is Persephone gonna want to be with Hades? Considering that in the original Greek myth she was kidnapped. But yeah, so there's no Persephone right now, which answered that curiosity. Overall, I really loved this. This was exactly what I wanted. Like, I knew just from looking at the cover I was gonna love this, and it did not disappoint me. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is what I wanted to read out of shoujo manga. And it's so cozy, and like, I cannot wait to read the next volume, which I just ordered from Amazon today as of recording this. When you see it, I'll already have it. Maybe I'll have already read it too. I also picked up the 3rd volume today, because unfortunately the bookstore that I go to just did not have the 2nd volume. It's like, they had like all the other volumes, they just didn't have volume 2, and I'm like, dang it. I had to order it on Amazon. Yeah. I think this is a phenomenal purchase, so if you were like waiting to get this, go pick it up. I loved it. If you had not picked this up and you decided to watch the spoiler version of the review, and you're not going to go to a physical bookstore, again, check out the links in the description. I already linked a bunch of places, and there's probably a good chance that the bookstore that you want to shop from is down there unless you go to some sort of like indie bookstore. So I don't have it listed below, but it is available for purchase on the Viz Media app, which I generally like to read from, and goes right to the English language manga publisher that released it. So that's pretty cool. Definitely worth picking up. I will see you in whatever the next review that I'm going to talk about is. I am TrainerKelly of Rambles by TrainerKelly, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!